I want to talk about two different ways someone in Florida can get paid to take care of a family member in a Medicaid compliant manner. Okay, so of course we're talking about people who want to remain at home are typically going to be applying for the Medicaid waiver program or home and community-based services Medicaid. And if you're in the state of Florida, we help people minimize time on the wait list and apply and make sure that they get these benefits. And we often get the question, well, can I hire a loved one to get paid to take care of me? Right, the Medicaid recipient? And the answer is yes. And there's two different tools that I think are sometimes conflated with each other. And I want to make sure that we sort of set the record straight so people understand why and when they're used. So the first is we have a personal services contract or a family caregiver agreement. And the second is what's referred to as the participant directed option or PDO. And essentially the personal services contract is only relevant when my client who's in Florida has too much money that is preventing them from qualifying for Medicaid waiver benefits in the first place, right? In order to be on Medicaid waiver, you have to have less than $2,000 in assets. We have clients who come to us from all over the state who have maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars above what they're allowed to have. And we have many tools to deal with that. One such tool is that we may use on its own or in conjunction with other Medicaid planning strategies is the personal services contract, which in a nutshell, you can look at other videos where I talk about it in more detail, but essentially you can take money that the person who wants Medicaid already has, and if there is a properly drafted Medicaid compliant personal services contract, they can take a significant chunk of money and transfer it in one lump sum to the family caregiver. It can be not a spouse, but it can be a child, it can be a relative, any other relative, neighbor, friend, roommate, whoever it is. Okay, so it goes from, again, let's imagine we have a personal service contract worth $100,000 and we have a client with $100,000 in the bank. They can't apply for Medicaid with $100,000, so we can take essentially $98,000 if the contract is otherwise valid, right? We have to make sure that it meets fair market value requirements, but if it does, we can take $100,000 or more or less, depending on how the numbers work out, and transfer it in one lump sum to, let's call it the son or the daughter, or both, okay? And there's a way to do that in a Medicaid compliant manner where it's not considered to be a gift. You don't have to wait 5 years. And it's a really wonderful tool. It has pros, it has cons, but it's someone with money who's looking to get rid of money in a Medicaid compliant manner, and they have someone who's taking care of them anyway. We can get them paid for the care that they're providing now, and they promise to provide for the rest of the Medicaid applicant's life. So they start with money, and then by the time they apply, they don't have the money because we have this contract, okay? Now contrast that with the PDO, or Participant Directed Option Program. PDO only applies after we've done Medicaid planning, or if the client doesn't have money to begin with. Then once we get them, we've minimized the time they spend on the wait list, we've applied, we've gotten them eligible for benefits, they then enroll in a plan. You then have the ability to ask for the PDO option, the Participant Directed Option, which allows Medicaid to pay a family member who meets certain criteria on an hourly rate. So Medicaid will approve a certain number of home care hours per week, and if you don't want to go through an agency that has a contract with Medicaid, instead you want to hire a family member, you can then enroll in PDO, and however many hours you have been approved, instead of going to an agency, can go to the family member of your choice. In that case, it actually can be a spouse, and it can also be a child, it can also be a cousin, as long as they meet PDO criteria. There's really very few restrictions on who can get paid. So personal services contract in a nutshell is a payment before you ever apply for Medicaid, if there's money available. If there's no money available, personal services contract is not an option. Either way, once we get someone on Medicaid, they then have the option, not the obligation, but the option to enroll in PDO, where on an ongoing basis, Medicaid will pay for a certain number of weekly hours of home care, and it can be paid to a family member. Medicaid has their own rates of pay, usually between $15 and $16 an hour for unskilled work. That's the PDO program. So understand the difference between the personal services contract, the difference between the PDO program. They both relate to paying family members for being able to pay family members for care that they're providing for you, but they operate under different circumstances. Hope this video has cleared it up. If you are anywhere in the state of Florida and would like to schedule a Medicaid planning consultation, please give us a call. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, please share it, please subscribe to the channel. Helps me get good information to Floridians everywhere. And thank you very much for watching.